Welcome back again, my dear brothers and sisters. Why did the Creator create everything? Why didn't He create us infallible? Why did He allow evil to exist? Why does shirk seem beneficial to some people when in reality it is the most harmful? And why is the Creator unseen? Though we have learned the true concept of God, Tawheed, we still must address these questions to fully comprehend the religion of Islam and our purpose of existence. So let's focus on these first two questions. Why did the Creator create everything, and why didn't He create us infallible? As far as the first question is concerned, the answer is very simple. The Creator created everything because He is able to create. Someone able to do something will do that. If you're able to sing, you will sing. If you're able to invent, you will invent. The Creator has a unique ability, and that is He can create from nothing. So of course He would create. And not only this creation, probably He is going to bring even more creations. So the answer to the first question is very simple. The second question, why didn't the Creator create us infallible? Or in other words, why did He create a being like us, those who were able to choose between right and wrong? He could have created us like the angels, those who were incapable of doing wrong. So whatever angels do, they always adhere to the Creator's commandments. So why didn't the Creator create us like that? There are various religious and philosophical viewpoints on this. But the explanation we find in Islam not only gives an appropriate answer to this, but also solves all the related questions to our existence. So according to Islam, by creating a being like us, those who are able to choose between right and wrong, the Creator has created the best creation. Now it sounds very strange that we can even do wrong things and we are the best creation. How can that be? Well, let's have a closer look at it. There is a being that always adheres to the Creator's commandments as it is incapable of going astray. Whereas there is another being, those who can defy Creator's commandments. Creator has given them that ability. They can go astray, yet it adheres to the Creator's commandments. So which one of these two beings is better than other? Of course it is the second one, because in the case of first one, they don't have any choice. They must adhere to the Creator's commandment. But the second being, they adhere to the Creator's commandment willingly, right? Now this idea that we have been created with the ability to choose between right and wrong also suggests that there are wrong things in this world. Or in other words, there are evil things. This brings us to the third question that I have enumerated in the beginning. That is, why did the Creator allow evil to exist? So the Creator didn't allow evil so that we do evil all the time. Rather, it's a part of test. This world is a test field. It's a temporary world. Right? So the Creator sees to it that between these two paths, one guided by Him and the other is the evil path, which one do we choose all the time? This concept that we are being tested in this world is so important that according to me, after someone starts practicing Tawheed, the most important thing to focus on is this, that is, we are being tested in this world. Most people fail to accept this fact that this world is full of trials and tribulations. And that is why you will find people, those who are born in Muslim families, grow apathetic towards Islam. And those who are new Muslim, they even apostate. This concept is so important in Islam that Allah mentions this several times in the Noble Quran. For example, He says, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا وَيَقُولُوا آمَنَّا. Do people think that they will be left to say, we believe? وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. And I will not test them. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. I have tested even the people before them. That means no one can escape Allah's test. فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. So that I will make it clear, I will make it evident who among you are truthful and who are liar. So, though we say that we believe in Allah, we believe in His Allah's Tawheed, but Allah will put us into some circumstances where we have to choose between Islam, the path guided by him, and the evil path. And that is the test. Now, it raises a question that why Allah is testing us. One thing that we understand, that he wants to make it clear who are following his path and who are following the evil path. But what is the ultimate goal of it? According to Islam, through this process of trials and tribulations, Allah is going to select the best of humanity. He's going to select a group of people, those who will be the dwellers of another world called paradise, which is a beautiful place to live in. On the other hand, those who follow the evil path, their abode will be a very dangerous place, and that is hell. Now it makes sense. If Allah allowed everyone to enter paradise, that would mean that they would do the same thing out there what they are doing to this planet. From every aspect, we are ruining this planet, aren't we? Whether it is finance, health, peace and security, environment, you just name one. From every aspect, we are destroying this planet. And how is it happening? If you just have a closer look, you will find that this is because these areas are being managed by a set of man-made laws. Whereas there is a divine constitution available. In Islam, this divine constitution is called Sharia. Now, let alone implementing Sharia, when people hear the term Sharia, it makes their hair stand on end. Sharia, that must be, a set of draconian laws. So, the point is that we are being tested in this world. Since this world is a test field, evil things are inherently very attractive and tempting. And of course, among all evil things, the most diabolic one is shirk. So, shirk is also very attractive. Not only attractive, some people find shirk to be very beneficial. But why? Well, Islam has the answer. According to Islam, this happens because shirk involves something called black magic. Now, when we hear black magic, we think of a smoky environment, human skeleton, blood, some sort of mumbo jumbo. This is also black magic. But black magic is not always like this. Rather, most of the time, black magic is very inconspicuous. So much so that even people, those who are under the effect of black magic, they don't realize that. So there are different types of magic. There are magic where scientific trickeries are used to entertain an audience. We're not discussing that, Black magic is a type of magic which is not possible without associating a being called jinn. So who are jinn? I'm going to only enumerate few of their traits to understand this concept of black magic. Firstly, jinn are like humans. They have free will, so they can choose between right and wrong. But they are not the best creation of God. Humans are best creation because of their intelligence. Humans are more intelligent than jinn. But jinn are physically more powerful. Even they can do certain things which humans can't. For example, they can fly, they can travel long distances in seconds, so on and so forth. Secondly, jinn can also be categorized into many groups. They have their societies, they have their religions, right? And most religions they follow are human religions. Thirdly, jinn can see us, but we cannot see them. And this is a trait which is used in black magic. Now see, jinn is not something spooky. Some people think probably jinns are like ghosts. There is no such things as ghost. Islam doesn't believe in ghost. According to Islam, once someone dies, their soul is captured. And the soul now awaits resurrection. The soul doesn't wander around and disturb people like what we hear in ghost stories, right? So in Islam, there is no concept of ghost. Jinn are a creature, right? But we cannot see them, they can see us. Now, how does black magic work? There are some religious figures among humans who contact some jinn. Now remember, they cannot contact good jinn. There are good jinn as well, like humans. Those who believe in Allah, those who believe in Allah's Tawheed. They won't make such contact because they know such contacts are mostly sinister. So, these religious figures among humans, they contact some jinn and have them perform certain tasks. And through this, they gain popularity. Their number of followers increases. Let me give you an example. Suppose I am a religious figure and I contact some jinn. Now when you pay a visit to me, you find me flying in mid-air. But I'm actually not flying, the jinn is holding me. But since you cannot see the jinn, you find me flying in mid-air. I can move objects from distance without touching them. So actually jinn are doing that for me, right? I can get information for you from far-flung places. So when you see me doing these inexplicable things, your faith in me grows more and more. So now if I say that I'm a saint or I'm a prophet or even I'm a god, you believe in that. This is how most people are deceived across the world in the name of religions, my dear brothers and sisters. Otherwise, just think about it. When shirk doesn't make any sense, it is absolutely illogical. Why people have faith in shirk? Why people are indulged in shirk? It is black magic. In fact, there are people, those who are indulged in shirk, they will also tell you that I know that I cannot logically explain this. It doesn't make any sense logically. I know that. But I have some spiritual experience that I cannot explain. So where does that spiritual experience come from? It's black magic. They may not know that, but it's black magic. Otherwise, think about it. What force can drive someone to take a treacherous journey to the summit of a mountain, take a dip in a so-called holy water in sub-zero temperatures? Why would someone do that? Where that, devotion comes from? It is black magic. The spiritual experience they have, that comes from black magic. There's a very fascinating thing to learn here. And that is, in Islam, miracle is not very important. Though miracle did happen, the prophets of Allah, peace be all upon them, they did perform miracle with the permission of Allah. And remember, those miracles were the real miracles. Those were not deceptive. So, when a prophet turned a stick into snake, that was a real snake. That was not something that appeared to be a snake, right? It was a real snake. So, miracle happened in Islam, but miracle is not the first criterion to know a religion, right? Rather, what is most important is the message of the religion. And the only true message is Tawheed, right? I would like to cite an example here from an Islamic prophecy, to emphasize on this point that in Islam, miracle is not very important. So according to Islam, towards the end of this world, a man called Dajjal will come. Now Dajjal is not his real name, it is an epithet which means someone who deceives, right? Now this man will have immense magical power. He will possess unprecedented conjuring skills, so much so that he can bring rain, He will show people their dead parents. But remember, these are all deceptive. So the rain is not the real rain, parents are not real parents, right? And he will come at a time when people across the world facing mass starvation. There is drought everywhere. There is scarcity of food and water. This is the point of time when Dajjal will come. And he will offer resources. He will offer food, water, peace, security, and he will do all this in exchange of one thing, and that is people call him God, right? Later on, towards the end of the world, if Dajjal was to come, at this time, in this circumstance, then most people would call him God. So, Muslims won't call him God. They will strive, they will struggle, right? Until Jesus Christ, who is a prophet of Allah, will come and lead the Muslims and kill Dajjal. From this we understand that in Islam, miracle is not very important. If someone flies in the sky, walks on the surface of water, it doesn't matter. What matters is the message of that religion. And the only true message is Tawheed. Right? Now, there is a very fascinating question I'm going to ask you here. And it's a question, if you are able to answer, it proves that your concept of God is 100% clear, believe me. Right? And I asked this question to many people, including Muslim scholars, and I found them intrigued by this question. So I'm going to ask the question. If you want, you can pause the video and just try to answer the question, and then you resume watching and listen to the answer. So the question is that every time someone comes, claims divinity, performs some miracles, Islam says that they are impostor, they're false god. Now, when on the day of resurrection, real God comes before creation. And as we know, in the previous episode also we discussed this, that Allah will come before creation on the day of resurrection. So when He comes, will we have the same doubt there as well? That whether the one whom we see now is also real God or not? You know? But there is no Islamic tradition where you find that people will have such doubt. Rather, when people see God, they instantaneously know that He is real. How? Right? Well, the answer lies in Tawheed. As Allah says in the Noble Quran, Laisa kamithli shayun. There is nothing like unto Him. Right? So, when we see God, we know that He is someone we have never seen. Right? And this is not the feelings you will have when you see an impostor. For example, Dajjal. You know, when you see him, you know that he is a human being. He has a pair of eyes, you know, hands, legs. He is a human being of flesh and blood. Right? But Allah is not a human being. So the uniqueness of Allah itself is His identity, that He is true. Right? Now, some people may say that, well, there are so many animals, there are so many creatures we have not discovered yet. For example, there are so many marine animals we have not seen yet. Does that mean that if you were to have a look at a newly discovered marine animal, then we would have the same feelings like seeing Allah? Of course not. Because in the case of that animal, though we have not seen that animal before, you know, but we have an idea that how a biological structure, you know, made. The building block of every living creature is cell. Many cells make tissues, you know, and many tissues make the whole body, right? So though we have not seen that animal, specific animal before, but we have an idea that how a biological structure look, you know. So, but Allah is not a biological structure. He is not made of cells. He is the creator of cell, right? So when we look at Allah, we know that He is not someone whom we have seen before. So His uniqueness itself is His identity, that He is true God, right? See how logical it is. I mean, when you believe in Tawheed, everything fits logically. So my dear brothers and sisters, today we have discussed a little bit of Islamic eschatology, that means our purpose of existence, and then the concept of hell and heaven and everything. Now, what about other religions? Do they also believe in heaven and hell? Well, several religions actually believe in the concept of hell and heaven. But there is one another common concept which is quite prevalent, and that is called reincarnation. So before I end today's discussion, I think I should touch upon this concept also. So what is reincarnation? According to this concept, birth and death is a cyclic process. So people are born, then they die, you know, and they're again born, again they die, and in this way it's a cyclic process. And people are rewarded and punished based on their previous deed. So for example, if someone did good deeds in the previous life, then in the next life they will be born in a better family, in better circumstances, you know. And if they lead righteousness throughout the cycle, then ultimately they are going to be liberated from the cycle. They will achieve salvation, you know. On the other hand, if someone was a criminal, you know, did some bad things in their previous life, then in the next life they will be born with defects, with disability, you know. I mean, in this way, a perpetual sinner can be born as lowly as a cockroach. So this is the concept of reincarnation. Now, this concept defies logic, you know, and I will explain you why. It's common sense that if a convict is punished, then the punisher would let the convict know for what they are being punished, you know. Otherwise, if the crime of a convict remains mystery, then there are two problems. Firstly, how would the convict rectify themselves? You know, because they don't know their crime, what they did. Secondly, if the convict had victimized some people, then what about those victims? Those victims would say that the justice is not served. Because the convict doesn't know that what exactly they did to us, right? For example, if someone kills my children, and now a judge sentences that person to death but doesn't communicate to them that what was their, crime, then I would say that I'm not feeling satisfied, right? The convict should know what exactly they did to me, and that is why they are being punished, right? It makes sense. Now, come back to the concept of reincarnation. Do you remember anything from your previous life? Of course not, because there is no such thing as previous life, Now, suppose a person who is born with disability, just sometimes talk to them in person and ask them that, hey, what did you do in your previous life that you were born in such condition? What answer do you expect from them? Nothing. Because there is no such thing as reincarnation. Now, what about Islam? What does Allah say about punishing the criminals? Allah says in the Noble Quran, وَأُدِيَ الْكِتَابُ فَتَارَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُشْفِكِينَ مِمَّا فِيهِ. And the records will be placed before the criminals. And you will see them trembling with fear, seeing what is within it. وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا مَا لِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ لَا يُغَادِرُ صَغِيرَةً وَلَا كَبِيرَةً إِلَّا أَحْصَاهَا. They will say that, oh, to us, what is this record that has not left anything minor or major except it has enumerated it? Think about it. That means every detail of their crime is there in the record, right? وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. And they will see whatever they have done, everything before them. It's present before them. And then the last line of the verse. Listen to this, what Allah says. وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. And your Lord does injustice to no one. Beautiful. Everything fits logically. So first Allah says that how He is going to show the records to the criminals. And then He says that He doesn't do any injustice. That means showing the records and details of their crimes to criminals, is a part of justice, right? This makes sense. So my dear brothers and sisters, reincarnation doesn't make any sense. The only concept which is logically valid is the concept of heaven and hell. With this, I would like to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching. We have a few more episodes to go. After that, we will conclude common sense. See you in the next episode. Take care.